All right, let's try that again. You can see how excited I was for this next session. I wanted to do it 5 minutes early. That's how exciting it is. So again, let's try it. The metaverse for business, moving past the hype, yada yada, clear-eyed vision, with the remarkable CEO of Endeavor XR, a technical strategist, and soon to be featured in the top 100 women of the future. This time, I promise you, Amy Peck. We'll get there in the end. Thank you, Amy.
Thank you. I'm glad Rupert's excited. I'm excited. So we talk about the metaverse and all these possibilities, and I prefer just to focus on the metaverse for business, right? And just dispel all the hype. And the metaverse is a destination. It's not a destination. Well, let me start again here. We talk about it as this sort of gilded opportunity, and it's not a place or a thing. It's arguably not really even built yet. It's really a journey. So it's something that we're going to be working on for the next decade and beyond. So really, it's up to us, how this all unfolds. And no, you do not need to rush into the metaverse, despite what many people might tell you. However, you do need a strategy. Largely because it's quite complex. This isn't just about, opening up your store and a few games in Roblox. And unless your demographic is 9 to 13, that's not your market, right? And it's a labyrinthine ecosystem, right? There's so many complexities to it. It's important for companies to really grasp what it is they want to do. What are the products and services of the future? And one thing that we really can do is, learn a lot from the ecosystem of Second Life. It's arguably the first active metaverse. They had their own digital currency. People were making a living, right? At one point, I think it was they were it's about $500 million in transactions, which is, in 2007, 2008, that's a big number. All right, so I think we can learn a lot of lessons, especially about the creator economy and how to build a functional community and ecosystem. If we can get a tiny bit more volume.
The technological boom propelling us forward from virtual reality will mark an event horizon so dramatic that it very well may be the beginning of the end of human life as we've defined it. I'm not talking end of days. It's more an evolution of the human form. Once we get a taste of this escapism, we may never want to come back. And if you're like me, you're probably wondering, can I really be seduced? And if so, what will it feel like to escape into this shared online world? Well, try this on for size.
If we have 100 billion brain cells, we have about 100 million or so of those that are leading out to our nerves. Touch, our vision, smell, everything. What would it be like to have 100 times more nerves that were connecting you to the world around you? What would it be like to touch someone with 100 more times the nerve endings than you have in your skin today? And in a computer, you could do this.
The Metaverse, a limitless digital refuge from our less than perfect world, driven by an artificially intelligent engine. Once we hook in, we will access recesses in our brain we never knew existed, connect with minds all over the planet, and collectively rebuild the world as we envision it, digital brick by digital brick.
The metaverse connects all humans in one shared EDA space. You can interact with other people like we do in the physical world. You can interact with the environment, move things, touch things.
A shared, joint virtual reality that you can move around in, that most of society have access to.
In the future, we'll be able to create an imaginary world the size of a planet.
I mean, there'll be virtual construction companies and architects and all these sorts of crazy jobs that would sound ridiculous now, but are completely inevitable.
Even in a completely digital form, we'll form into tribes and groups and find our people and fall in love and do all these things. But I bet we'll still have very rich decisions going on around, how we choose to live with each other. And that is still going to be a very fundamental conflict that is going to be just as real inside a digital matter as it would be in the real world.
Ah, yes, the ever-evolving calculus of love and relationships in a world we design. The temptation could be unimaginable.
So that's Philip Rosedale, who is the founder and CEO of Second Life and has now come back and is advising the company again. And I love his focus very much on humanity and creating community and elevating experience, but there is definitely kind of a slightly dystopian theme as well. And I think that that's how this is going to evolve. I think in the early days, we're going to have these parallel paths that are slightly dystopian. But if we choose to engage collectively in the building of this metaverse, we can actually focus on the things that are important to us. So Gartner has put out this, elements of a metaverse, and I think this is a good start for things that we really have to be thinking about, especially as companies, right? And you're not going to be thinking about all of these at once, but you have to understand what it is that are going to make up these virtual environments. And then, something I bet none of you have heard of, because I made it up, the Metaverse Rule of 7. Who knew? It turns out that when you're talking about the Metaverse, it has to come in sevens. And I'm making a little bit of fun there, but on the left is Tony Parisi's 7 Rules of the Metaverse. He's got a Medium post. If you haven't read it, I highly recommend you read it. In the middle is John Radoff. It's been ripped off a million times, but John Radoff, as far as I know, was the first person to put this together. The 7 layers of the metaverse. And then 7 technologies that will make it a reality, but really it's far more than just these 7 technologies. But the root is that everything will be 3D, and 3D will everything. So if you're doing nothing today, you do not have to build a virtual environment. You do not have to build a metaverse per se. As a company, you have to build fluidity with 3D asset management, right? That can be in the form of digital twin of your factories. It can be 3D assets around your products. But it's very, very important to start building your 3D strategy. So of course, I should have some really ominous music here. What could go wrong? Well, first of all, we must not allow ourselves to become digital lab rats. The amount of sensors that are on these devices, especially eye tracking, that is medical data, right? And so we really have to be careful. We have to, as consumers, demand that we get control of our data. And the metaverse should not be controlled by individual companies. You can tell that I hang out a lot with Jay Latta because we hammer a lot of the same themes. And I saw that he mentioned this morning. This is critical. And the metaverse should be open and accessible to everyone. The devices are expensive now, so mobile and web-based XR experiences that we ensure become available to everyone and that we do not increase the digital divide. So, to recap, this is the interactive portion. Who is the metaverse for? Say it with me.
I mean, it's everyone in the whole entire world. I mean, everyone.
I hope that will help you remember. So one of the things that we look at is we have to kind of look at the consumer side of things. And one of the most notable movements right now is that really art, entertainment, games, social media, and fashion are all colliding. So what does that really mean? Well, what it means is that the consumer metaverse is really the Wild West right now, right? There is not a clear path on how companies should engage. I'm really excited that brands have steamed in. Gucci actually did a very cool experience where you'd put on a Gucci jacket, and as you walk through the space, you would take on elements of that space. Adidas has been dropping NFTs. I have my concerns about NFTs, and I think all of you should too. And services, JP Morgan opened up a bank. I don't know how many visas are getting produced in the metaverse for Barbados, but I applaud them for trying and moving in, because again, they're building that fluency and fluidity with the technology. I think Nike is doing some of the coolest things in the metaverse. However, on the right, can anyone guess what that Murakami crypto kick went for? Anybody? Shout out a number. $134,000. If my kids buy those, it's going to get ugly. So let's look at actual use cases. So v-commerce and virtual stores, this is different than just kind of building a mall. This is using your existing space. Sports, using it for performance if you're an athlete or if you happen to be training to be a couch potato. It allows you to be fully immersed in the action. This is something I find really exciting, and I hope next year we see a lot more of this, where creative experiences can be anchored all around us at any time. And multiplayer games moving us off the sofa and out into the world. Education, we have a huge opportunity to really start to create global classrooms, right? Where education is really led by student curiosity. And having it on a global scale means that they're experiencing other cultures without politics. And this is really just the beginning. So when we look at some of the elements, we look at the spectrum of reality. I don't even think we're going to call it the metaverse in 10 years, right? We're not even going to talk about, AR, XR, VR, none of it. If we do it right, we will just be moving seamlessly between experiences. And then as we move to Web 3, we're kind of in Web 2.5. We're still going to have a centralized construct. Right? It's not going to change overnight. But as Jay also pointed out this morning, originally the internet was server to server, right? So it was decentralized. So we're going to move past that to Web 3, but it's going to take a long while. And of course, again, I lied about only one interactive portion. What's the first thing that you think of when I say the word blockchain? Crypto, Bitcoin. But that's just a subset, right? And there's an elegance to blockchain and smart contracts that we are missing. And of course, artificial intelligence will help manage all of the content and deliver the right content to the right people at the right time. So let's put all the meta elements together. So this is really, to me, at the core of Metaverse for business. Digital twin and AR cloud. Ori Inbar has been talking about and promoting the AR cloud ever since I've known him, so it's about a decade. But we're actually at the point where we can start to build this. But there are a lot of elements and things that have to happen first. So digital twin can be a digital twin of a building, it can be of a particular asset, it can be of your manufacturing line. But this is really a way to manage and optimize all your processes, or in terms of building lifecycle management. And then AR Cloud is really a digital twin of the entire planet with different contextual layers so that we can deliver the right data, again, to the right person at the right time in the right context. But we talk about smart cities, but we don't get to smart cities without smart buildings. And so again, we have to start with physical space where we are now. This isn't just about building a digital twin of your physical space in the metaverse. It's actually building the utility of the digital twin to optimize everything that you're doing now in the real world. And then 5G, Edge, and Cloud are going to enable AI content at scale. So we talked about 5G. Why do we need 5G? Why do we need such big pipes? Because this is really a two-way connection. We are also going to be recording experiences. We're going to be recording everything that's happening with a multitude of sensors. There will be LiDAR on all the autonomous vehicles. uploading dynamic static data, right, to true up the AR cloud. So it is massive amounts of data that are moving through 5G. And that gets us to the Internet of Everything, right? All of the machines are talking to each other, all the machines are talking to us, we're talking to the machines. So I showed that video because I was just in Dubai, where earlier this month they've released a Metaverse strategy, and it's really exciting that at the government level they are steaming in and investing in the Metaverse, and they're looking again more at the utility piece. So I think I've had this slide in my deck for about 5 years, and I'm not going to put it away until we all get it. It's the convergence of all of these technologies. It's not about the Metaverse, not about blockchain, not about AI. It is about what we want our lives to look like, and then bringing all of this technology together to pave that path to that end. So when you look at use cases, collaboration is going to be a key element in every use case. And so these are sort of the 4 horizontals where companies today, and this is very well documented in terms of ROI, but companies can, every company can use at least one, if not all, of XR in these realms within their company and start to move across business units. And that's really where you start to get economy of scale. And so communication and collaboration, this is important for all of us. This isn't just about work, right? How will we communicate and collaborate personally in the future, right? And this is an important question. And again, we need to have a stake and feel like we have agency in how these structures are built. Real estate is another great example, and this is not buying a $450,000 plot of land next to Snoop Dogg, because here's the secret. He doesn't run his avatar. It's not him, for $450,000. So again, let's be smart. So industrial and critical systems monitoring, healthcare and personal wellness, I think this is a huge new realm. And the reason I'm showing these two next to each other is that I think we need to start thinking about public data and how we're going to enable business and healthcare and our physicians and hospitals, but also ourselves, like actually leveraging our data. We talk about self-sovereign identity, but it's really about managing our data and looking at the data for our own personal wellness. I think this is a wide open playing field. So if you're a startup out there, look in this arena. And you have the opportunity to work with data from the inside out. And we haven't even scratched the surface of what this is going to look like, right? We haven't developed what the visual language is for data as we're interacting with it organically. We're still using kind of 2D and 2D/3D constructs that we're used to seeing, but we can stand inside the data and work with it. So there's a lot of room for improvement there, and there's a lot of studies happening on what that organic interaction with data will be. So I think there's sort of 2 paths, to successfully deploy and move forward. One is the practical path. And again, for me, it's not about a killer app, it's about killer utility. So how can we use it today? And then what are the products and services in the future that we haven't even invented yet? And that leads us to the second path, which is the visionary path. Much more fun and much harder, actually. It seems like, oh, if we can just imagine the future, but it's actually harder for us to get out of our day-to-day dynamic to actually imagine what our personal vision for the future is in 20 years, 25 years, 50 years, right? We have to get out of the day-to-day dynamic and kind of fantasize, get back to our imagination like when we were 5. Because true innovation happens with a blank canvas. And the grammatically correct version of think different would be think differently. And we need to think differently. We need to change our mindset. And that takes work. It doesn't just happen overnight. You have to pull yourself out of your day-to-day and actively visualize what this future is going to look like. So the question is, what haven't we imagined? And so we do a lot of exercises around future visioning. And it sounds very kumbaya, but it's very much based on science. We really move ourselves intellectually on a very linear path as we move through school, and we lose the ability for volumetric thinking, which is connecting disparate thoughts and ideas and creating something from nothing. But that is the thing that is going to propel us forward in this age of technology, right? And it's not STEM education, it's STEAM. We need arts and creativity. And art imitates life, life imitates art. It is not a coincidence that AR looks like Minority Report. It's because we don't have an idea of what we want to build, how we want to build the future. So we go see a film, and we say, well, that looks great. I like swiping in midair. And that's what we do. But that means that a very small few people are defining what our future is going to look like. So I really believe that the metaverse is not a story of technology. It is a story of humanity.
Connection is a spark that gives our lives meaning. It drives us to seek out others who feel the same way.
Why don't you input the data and we'll take a look together. Hey Mari, what you got for me?
To find those who share our views, yet offer different perspectives.
Saw this net.
Look over here.
Challenge us with new ways of seeing.
That I think we should
deepen our understanding. And enrich our lives.
最后一笔的时候，往前。
Great things happen when we commit to something bigger than ourselves.
Let's take a closer look at it.
place this here. Let's see how we go from there, okay?
This sense of collaboration and the feelings of connection it brings excites us.
Hey, just in time. I'm gonna move it slightly, okay?
It's yours, take it.
We have 2 planes right now on the same trajectory.
As we put people first, technology fades into the background and feels like anything but.
Aisha, what do you think?
I think if we had 330, maintaining 2800, we'll be clear for approach.
Excellent.
This changes the way we see the world, and in turn, changes the world we see.
These numbers are looking great, actually.
There's promise in the possibilities, and what we see and create next will stretch the imagination.
Good morning, Sarah.
Morning.
Slowly coming towards the thumb.
A world without boundaries.
Good job. A lot better than yesterday.
Yeah.
Excellent. Slowly bring
a world where technology enhances, not limits, humanity. With people front, center, and in the spotlight. The future is here, and here can be anywhere. Introducing Microsoft Mesh.
So I love that video because the technology kind of falls into the background. Now, it doesn't always work that way in the video. That probably took a few takes. But that's the point, that it falls by the wayside. But we have an opportunity to create entirely new systems. So let's not just build a mirror world. Let's not just replicate what we already have. You know, let's upend education. Let's really bring creativity into the workplace. Let's move to a transparent model. It is time for companies to rip the Band-Aid off. If you want to get to your ESG goals, you have to start with transparency. Otherwise, it doesn't happen. Please come to Rika Nakazawa's panel. I think it's later today. And diversity in all its forms. It's not just limited to gender and race. And identity, self-sovereign identity, it is critical. Value construct, right? And measuring worth not just in money, but in how we improve the human experience. We can create our own superhuman future. The possibilities are truly infinite. So I'll leave you with my favorite quote: the best way to predict the future is to create it. So it's time to create something brilliant. Thanks so much.
Thanks very much, Amy. I think we're done with the questions. So we are taking a break, a 20-minute break. There is free coffee outside, always a good thing. And if you come back, don't miss the panel. We have a great lineup on diversity. 20 minutes from now, enjoy your coffee, enjoy your networking, and have fun. Bye-bye.